Peace. You're now tuned into G Consciousness Live. And I just wanted to address some things real quick. We're dealing with a video that was made today by Wayne Philmore. You can go to his YouTube page and check it out. And just listen to it, just as well. I've inboxed him on the information. Actually, I received a message from Dragnut today. And in the message, he tagged me uh, and also C Brown. Matter of fact, let me invite C Brown up in here and see if I can get him in here. Oh, C Brown. All right. So I invited him in here. And so he tagged, and let me also invite Dragnut in here since he actually did the whole tagging thing. All right, so cool. So Dragnut tagged me and C Brown, and he says, feel free to come listen. And he says, Wayne Philmore is educating folks, but I seem to beg to differ. So I want to bring out some things, like I said, I tagged them. They can get a chance to look in here. They're going to look probably first, if anything, and before they come in, because they already know who to play with. But anyways, let me make sure my sound is putting out correct. Make sure my sound is putting out correct. Hold on for a minute, you guys. My sound is putting out correct. All right, so I'm cool on the sound. All right, cool. With Florida guy. Peace to your family. Peace to Christ for life. Peace to y'all in the chat room. Yeah, so basically, as y'all can see, I'm responding to a brother named to a brother named Wayne Philmore. And the response is entitled Adam and Eve according to evolutionary creationism. That's what it is, creationism. And so I want to screen share a couple of things, make sure that those that are looking that they share the link. Share. Make sure, matter of fact, let me share this link just as well and let people know that I am live because I have not shared it yet. I jumped right into it. Hopefully them brothers will come in. I know it's 4:55, so people should be possibly getting off of work at this time. Let me see. All right, so let me share this real quick and get this on out the way.
Yo, hello.
What's going on, Chris? How you feeling, brother?
What's up, bro? Wait, let me turn this down a little bit. I'm just getting ready to get out of here, man.
Oh, you getting ready to get out? You getting ready to get out for work or get out of the house?
No, yeah, I'm about to get out the house, man. Trying to I got a couple of options I'm trying to explore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what's up? What's going on, though, man? What?
Nothing. Well, Dragnut tagged me and you in some stuff today. I don't know if you seen it.
Oh, I didn't really see it. No, what did it say?
Let me go back to it so you can check it out.
getting some bad feedback here. Is that me or you?
Probably. Let me cut my stuff down. Can you hear? What about now?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit better.
Let me cut it all the way down. Go ahead. Can you talk? Talk and let me see.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, if it's still feeding back, let me know, and I'll just mute my mic when you're talking.
Okay, I think it's gonna be all right though.
All right. So this is what he stated.
Wait a minute. I think my dog got to go outside. 1 second. 1 second. You gotta
Okay.
go potty? Huh? Okay, my man. I'm sorry. She ain't want. She just want to bother me. What's up?
All right, you cool. Okay, so he tagged us and he says this was about 2 hours ago. He tagged us and he says he tagged Wayne Philmore educating folks. Now, well, Wayne Philmore did a lesson today talking about Adam and Eve according to evolutionary creationism, and so he tagged. He said that this guy was educating folks, and he tagged me and you, and he says feel free to come and listen, basically. So I listened to the guy, to the information he put out, and he is a Christian, but he takes on old earth, and also how the evolutionary processes, and he basically had a couple of questions that he addressed in the YouTube video, and one of the things that he talked about is, let me grab that real quick. He talked about who was biblical Adam and Eve. That's what he talked about. He also talked about were they the first human pair? Are they the progenitors of the human race? Did they live some 6,000 years ago? And he basically, I don't know what he tried to do, but he tried to do something, but it wasn't correct to me. So that's why I'm here now. So I was just letting you know, and I tagged you in the room. Added you to the room. I also added General Sohan. I added also Christian Anarchist, and also Dragnet himself, even though he doesn't deal with the Bible, but he actually co-signed the guy. And I also invited the guy Philmore, Wayne Philmore, and he just did the video. He took no questions. He didn't. He has not responded back in his inbox. So here we are.
Right. Well, I'm gonna tell you, man. I would like to direct you to Wayne is. I'm sorry, Wayne is in bad shape, bro. Wayne used to believe in. He used to be a young Earth creationist, and Wayne. I mean, it's like it almost seemed like Wayne is God first. I'm sorry, science first, God 15th.
Right.
I mean, it's like the Bible and anything to do with God has a line up with science, even though science can't even cover everything, even though science is constantly learning stuff. It's whatever science we have right now, the Bible got to line up with, or otherwise it's not valid. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I actually seen that when he was speaking just as well. I seen a lot of that.
Which video you talking about? Because the video I'm talking about is a video with G. Oh, the one that G Man posted. Hold on, let me see if I can. I mean, because it
actually has nothing to do with G Man. He just posted this today, actually.
Okay, well, this video right here. I mean, this video I'm about to send you right here in this link, and you can just skip right to the point where this guy, I don't care what they say about him. This guy Arcane is cold with it.
Yeah, Arcane get big.
Arcane is cold with it.
Yeah.
You know, as far as him being a flat earther, I don't care about that because you know nobody knows for sure. None of that. Okay, I don't know for sure. I mean, I'm inclined to believe that it's not a flat earth because they have pictures, you know, and this and that, you know. But when I think he's talking about flat earth, I don't think he's talking about actual. I think he's talking about not spherical, but kind of like maybe oblong or something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. But I'm just saying, Arcane killed him.
Yeah. Like and for the most part, I wanted to. Yeah, I've heard Arcane. Arcane got skills. When it comes to, I don't deal with the flat Earth. I believe that it is a spirit. I think that for the most part, you know, a lot of Christians, they deal with it as being a spirit rather than a flat Earth. Um, I actually had a guy who debated someone, and I've debated as far as dealing with the flat Earth thing. So, but that's not really the point. That
Right.
kind of make. The point is that he does definitely have some great information. I've heard him speak before. Talking about several things. So I definitely
Mm-hmm.
attest to that. But I'm gonna see if I can um, get these guys in here because you know I definitely need to deal with what the guy was bringing out, and I think that he does not want to show up.
He'll never
But he,
no, listen. Wayne will hold his position no matter how bad he losing. Wayne will hold his position. I mean, I'm
mm,
serious. There's just no way he get nowhere near this video where Arcane. Cause I put it like this here. Look, to me, it don't matter if the Earth is round or if it's whatever it is. It doesn't matter. That's not it. The thing that's impressed me with Arcane is all about scriptures. He's all about what God said, and he's all about the science that evolution is absolutely impossible. And he did an excellent job. I'm telling you, if you watch that video, you're gonna learn a lot. You not only are you gonna learn some different things about how evolution is impossible, but you're gonna learn how to kill their argument. You're gonna learn how to articulate your argument, and you're gonna learn how to do it in such a calm way. It's ridiculous. This guy stayed calm. This guy stayed poised. This guy was able to articulate. This guy did not stutter. Okay, you know what I'm saying? This guy is cold with it. I'm telling you. I really respect it. Like you said it. As far as that flat Earth thing is, I'm not. I haven't heard enough about it to be able to make a decision on it. I believe the Earth is spherical, but it's a sphere. But however you want to look at it, he made his argument as far as how evolution is impossible, and he did it in such a calm way. It's ridiculous.
yes. What I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to pose some of the questions that the guy, he talked about, even with dealing with chronology, because I think that there was a problem with chronology that he talked about, far as how that the Christians used to date, and I think that for the most part, the Christians dated, you know, they dated far as dealing with the dates of with the ages of, from Adam that they added up. That's the first thing we got to understand, But I want to go to a scripture real quick, so
Okay.
all right, in Romans 1, where is it at? All right, so this is Romans 1 and 18. This is 1 and 18. It says, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness." It says, "Because that which may be known of God," notice he says, "is manifest in them, for God have showed it unto them." So it's manifest in them, and God have showed it unto them. Now, notice it says up above in verse 18, it says that his wrath is revealed. against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. So these people have the truth, but they hold it in unrighteousness. And God has made known to himself and has manifested in them. For God hath showed it unto them, he says. It says, for the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen. Now notice it says the invisible things.
Visible things.
Right. Now when we look at the invisible things, these are things that scientists today cannot measure, but know that they exist.
Right.
But cannot measure the quantity of it, but they know that it exists. So when we look at it, it says the invisible things of him from the creation of the world. Notice we're talking about the subject matter in verse 20, which is the creation of the world. And so he's basically showing you that when we look at it, these things that are invisible from the creation of the world, that are unseen, that cannot be measured, are clearly seen. Now let's see how he's saying they are clearly seen, being understood by the things which are made. So basically, when we examine the things that are made, those things are the material things of the material world, are nature, to understand the invisible things from the that have been created, basically, from the creation of the world. So this is what we say science is understanding how the things in the material world function. And by understanding those things, it should help one that is a Christian to understand the things that are unmeasured, that cannot be seen. Those things should explain the invisible things. Now, it says, even his eternal power. Now, one of the first things that we must realize, as in concerning Adam and Eve, is that well, let's talk about Adam. Adam was made in the image and likeness of God. He's made in the image and likeness of God. So as we look at Adam, Adam is a material being. So can we look at Adam to explain some things about God or invisible things? We definitely can. We can also look and explain God's eternal power in the Godhead by looking at Adam and also looking at something that is in the image and likeness of God. Adam is in the image and likeness of God closer than anything that's on this earth. Anything.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
And so when we look at that, right, this is basically telling us that, number one, we have to look at that understanding, knowing, and studying the material world help us to understand the things that are invisible from the creation of the world, and they are clearly seen when we do those things. And then also even his eternal power. Now when we look at eternal power, I want y'all to understand that eternal power is something that we're going to see that moves on the water. Now remember, the first law of thermodynamics is energy. Remember, energy. And this energy that we see is the energy cannot be destroyed, or cannot be created nor destroyed. So when we look at eternal power, remember, this is energy. And also remember the second law of thermodynamics just as well, because we know that things are moving towards a point of degeneration, and because of the lacking of this indefinite source of power of or this eternal power that we see here. This is why we have decay processes, because they are unstable and they lack basically eternal power. So we're going to show you where in this text it's going to show you that this eternal power moved upon these primordial waters. See, this text is older than the evolutionary theory, as far as when you talk about primordial soup. We're going to deal with that. We can even go into the historical aspect and look at historically of other cultures around the world that also explain the primordial waters of what they call in Sumer the Absu, or also in Egypt basically the primordial waters are set tepid the first time.
Right.
Historically, we can show you that some of those things that they are dealing with also deals with the Bible, but we believe that they perverted their way, and we can see it just as well as Israel perverted their way too, just as well. But we're going to show you this eternal power. It's simple. This is simple right here. Now, where did evolutionists get their concept of certain things? Examining some of what they see in the natural world, and also historical content, historical literature, basically. Through those historical literature and also through the observation of the natural world, they piece certain things together, and this is just fact. Now, when we look at it, it says, for the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and his Godhead. And we know that, well, what the Godhead consists of, which is three distinct persons, you know, as we see, the Father, Son, and the Spirit, so that they are without excuse. In other words, when you look at natural things, in the very natural things, they explain God, his eternal power in creation. There's no getting past it. Intelligent design, a mind, or a divine counsel that brought forth the material world. Now, let's look at this, because this is going to cut this brother if he's talking about the evolutionary process. He's going to get cut easily with Hebrews 11 and 3. It says, go ahead, brother.
I said, bring it.
Okay, cool. It says, through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God. In other words, the world was framed by the word of God. So we understand that even when we look at the very cells, everything to the nucleus down to the very atom, as they say in the beginning was that atom, we know that that is information. That is information, and that is words. Matter of fact, we call it the universe for a reason, because the universe was brought into existence by language and math, basically. And math is language. So we see that in the beginning, it says, through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God. So the word of God framed everything, basically. And in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. The Syriac say, or the Aramaic say, in the beginning was the Memra, which is the word, and the Memra was with God, and the Memra was what God is and was what God was, basically, so to speak. So we see that. So we know that in the word in the beginning, or just to say beginning, expresses time. So it expresses that the word brought something into existence, which is time. So let's look at this. So things that which are seen, things that we see now, were not made of things which do appear. In other words, these things that we see now, or the things that were created, were not made by natural processes, by things we see appear, that we see that have appeared now, but were actually made by way of information materializing those things, or bringing those very materials into existence of what we call today the natural world, or nature. So we see that information is what brought the natural world into existence, because when we look at the very atoms or the very nucleus of those things and how they break down in subatomic particles, we realize that those things are information, and that information is intelligence. There's no escaping it at all. It's inevitable. No way. Even if you're talking about evolutionary process by way of natural selection, you cannot escape it. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. So let's look at this, right? By faith, hold on, I'm sorry. So let's jump back. Jump back. a matter of fact, let me do this because I thought I was screen sharing, but I wasn't.
Okay, let me say something real quickly, bro.
Go ahead.
What I'm gonna be doing in a little bit, I'm gonna be switching over to my house. I'm gonna have to log in on my phone, okay, and then I'm gonna have to use my phone. I'm gonna be driving, so I'm gonna be driving where I'm going, and I'm gonna be listening basically from my phone. So I'm gonna have to switch over in a little bit. So should I just log into that one now, or should I just wait? I probably should just wait. I don't know how it really works as far as using it on the phone. I never did it on the phone before, but I know I can do it. You know what I mean? Because I'm at my house on my computer.
Yeah, you can actually you can log in on your phone and just as well. You don't got to log in on your computer. You can log in on your phone.
You can be logged in on both of them.
Yeah, you can log in on both of them, but you can actually get off of this one and then log in on your phone when you get in the car.
Okay, hold on. Well, let me, to make it smooth, let me try to log in right here, and then that way, hold on. Wait a minute, is this the real Adam and Eve? Is that what this is called right here?
Yes, the response. Yeah, response.
Yeah, that's just the I gotta find the hangout. Wait a minute, hold on. Let me figure out how to find the hangout thing on here. G plus, and let me see how you do that. How you do this over here? Maybe it's hangout right there. Okay, wait a minute. Did this say Kevin? Wait a minute, hold on. This says, yeah, this is you right here. Hold on. Yeah, let me get in right here. Hold on. So then I'm on ongoing call, but I'm not really in. Wait a minute. I think you gotta hit this thing right here. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, get off of that. Okay, so hold on. I think I'm gonna be in a second. Wait a minute. Bam. Okay, proceed. Okay. Okay. Oh, you got me. Okay, hold on. Let me turn this one off.
You in?
Let me turn this one off. Okay, am I still in?
Yeah, you in?
Okay, I'm still in. Okay, I left on the other one. Okay, I'm still in. Okay, all right. Go ahead.
All right, cool. All right, so we see that through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, right? And so let's look at Genesis so we can understand this. And I know what he's dealing with, but I'm gonna hold back on it because I really want him to come in the room. Because once he come in the room, then I can basically explode. Because like I said, they sit back and they'll watch.
Yeah, just hold back. Yeah, just but did you already sent him a request and everything?
Yeah, I sent him a request and everything. Yeah, and I know that he'll say it says the Lord is not slacking in his promises, and it says that a day unto 1,000 years as is a day unto the Lord, so to speak. And so they'll take that scripture and they'll take it and bring it over to Genesis, and they'll say, well, if you look at it, these days consist of basically thousands of years, but he doesn't hold that position, but he holds that individually that each one of them days, or Adam and Eve probably was the first man concerning 45,000 years ago, or some crap that he said, which was garbage. But we're gonna disprove that today.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me just ask you a question as far as this time thing. Okay, now, so is it possible there could be some time in between like the whole thing about the angels being created, okay, and then having cause I know there was a battle in heaven, you know what I mean? A fight between the angels. When did that take place? I mean, is that part of this? Was the world created at that point? When Satan was cast down with the other angels?
Yes, they call it the gap.
That happened before?
Yeah, they call it the gap theory. It's where when you look at Genesis 1 and 2, between that period, we have a period to where the earth was created perfect, and also the universe with it. And then afterwards, Satan fell by way of going down the wrong path, choosing the wrong path, and he took a third of the angels with him, and he basically destroyed the solar system of the solar system that we see now, which is this solar system that we see that we're in. And so this is why you see the ruin of the other planets that we see out there now, basically. And so
Right.
Earth was restored. Earth was something that was restored, um, at that time, or something that was created at that time. Most people say restored because they believe that the first ruler of the earth was Satan, which I really too much don't have a problem with, but I have a problem with getting off into what we see as the first creation of man. And when we look at everything like dinosaurs and different things, I don't believe that dinosaurs was a creation of God. I believe it was something that was genetically engineered during the antediluvian period. I don't believe that dinosaurs was something that was made by God. I believe that those are part of the genetic engineering of what we call fallen gods. They basically taught man how to genetically gene splice and create those beasts that was devouring all types of things. And some of them was not, but growing at gigantic, what's called, that's what I believe. But I know that all flesh corrupted this way, even just man itself. So yeah, there is a gap theory that we see of a process of, but that still doesn't prove the age of the earth of millions of years at all, or billions of years, 4.5 billions of years at all.
Right.
Because on one is God is like right now, we're according to the ages that they added up. Now remember, the chronology has nothing for reals to do with the ages of the from Adam. That's something that was incorporated later, because remember, the chronology would have came forth after Christ died. Because number one is we're looking at the dating system or chronology is based off of Christ. This is why we say AC or BC, dealing with Anno Domini, or the year of our Lord, basically. And then also BC dates before Christ. So, and then most people say before Common Era, saying, or after Common Era, which deal with some types of sometimes astronomical things or astronomical dating as in regards to what happened at that time of Christ. What things that they seen when they said we seen his star in the east. These are astronomical things.
Right.
You're getting like a little
Okay.
feedback, so you might have to mute your mic, but go ahead, you can talk though.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can do that. Wait a minute. See, I'm on a phone. I don't know how this thing works. Hold on. Oh yeah. Wait a minute. I can mute.
Yeah, but you can go ahead if you want to speak though. Then I'm gonna mute my mic and let you talk.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me? Okay. Hold on. Let me turn it off then. So you hear me now? No, I ain't got nothing to say. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to ask you about that time gap in between. You can continue what you were saying. I'm gonna mute my mic now.
Okay, cool. So when we look at this, right, because one of the questions was concerning Adam, and like I say, if you want to deal with the other things, that we can jump straight into it. When he come in here, we can jump straight into it. I ain't gonna let the goods go, but you know, he did a disservice in explaining Genesis 1:26. And let's look at. I want to look at. Let me make sure my sound is putting out correct. And as you can see, um, the brother and Christian anarchist, he definitely knows that we're in his room, but I don't know if he at work or not. But yeah, you can come on in here and get this work too. That's my buddy, but at the same time, you could get it too, just like this brother finna get it, because we finna go into it. Let's look at one of the questions that he posed. Let me look at this question. Let me make sure that I'm putting out correctly.
Let me ask you, what is can I ask you what is Christian? I see him around. What is his what is he an old earther?
Most likely he probably is. I believe so. He deals with certain things for us because I think he wrote with General Sohan, which is one of the guys who is an old earther too, who
Yeah.
who been running for a while too, just as well. But so yeah, I think he is, and I think he's also he's a I believe he is a Calvinist reform, I believe, or something like that. I don't know. Um, I believe he is though. But
Right.
yeah, let me see if my sound
Worked. I'm about to mute myself again, okay? I'm about to
Okay,
mute myself until I gotta say something. All right.
cool. So all right, so we are putting I am putting out right. So let me go to this and answer some of the questions that was posed. All right, cool. So let's look at this real quick. Um, who was biblical Adam and Eve? So let's look at Adam because I think he went into the Hebrew. So let's look at that first and look at when Adam first came on the scene. And he was called Adam, basically.
Hey, okay, but let me just tell you one thing really quickly, too, that
Okay.
you might want to address or just be ready to address it. You don't have to address it right now, but what's your name? Wayne was making a reference that Adam wasn't necessarily the first human.
Right.
That, so that's going to be part of what he's going to say. So I don't know if you got if you heard about that, if whatever you want to think about it, whatever your defense might be, but he definitely believed that Adam was not the first man.
Right. Yeah, he's definitely deceived because even when you get into the New Testament, and I don't know if he just did with the Old Testament, but Paul is clear that he calls Adam the first man. You know what I'm saying? So that cuts that right there. That's a cut right there. You know, that's why we work the New and the Testament because the whole subject matter is concerning Christ. Now, matter of fact, and we can grab that. Let's grab that. And the anything that comes after that is basically dealing with esoteric writings, which is trash. Because we know already that certain books that Irenaeus mentioned, which was a disciple of Polycarp, and Polycarp was a disciple of John the Apostle. And Irenaeus have a book out that talks about the different agnostic or Gnostic writings concerning there were other men in the garden. This is crap. That is all basically writings that the apostles and also the disciples was warning men against those type of writings. So you can also look at that and search that out. Let's jump to that scripture. Jump to that scripture real quick.
Okay, yeah. So just to let you know, yeah, I'm gonna be putting my map quest on, so I'm gonna be on mute most of the time. If you, I'll be listening for you, but I won't have it on the whole time. I just gotta make sure I get out here to where I'm going, and I won't have it on, but just let you know, I won't be in and out, but I'll still be there.
Okay, cool, brother. That's cool.
I mean, my mic will be on and off. Most of the time, it's gonna be off.
All right.
All right.
Now, if you notice, it says 1 Corinthians 15 and 45, it says, and so it was written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. So notice it says the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. Notice it says written up here. Well, where was it written at? Back in Genesis. The last man, Adam, was made a quickening spirit, basically. So let's look at this. And the last Adam basically was made a quickening spirit. it says in 47, the first man is of the earth, earthly. The second man is the Lord from heaven, as is the earthly, such are they also that are earthly. As is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. So we see that the first man on this earth, it was in the image and likeness of God, was Adam. Let's go back to Genesis and look at that. Genesis. And matter of fact, to prove that, let's grab another one, because we plays no game when it comes to this book. Romans 5. Watch what it says. Listen to this. It says, nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses. Notice it keeps saying Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression. So this is basically talking about Adam in the singular. Adam or Adam basically dealing with the definite article Adam, not Adam or dealing with in general different peoples, but just Adam. So we see through Adam came forth transgression. It says, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression. So we look at Adam, and by Adam's sin, death came into the world. In other words, he introduced the Hebrew word there is evil, is ra. Remember, he ate from the tree of knowledge and good and evil. The Hebrew word there is ra. And that word means calamity, misery, misfortune. So through him came forth this process of death that we see now. What is death? Death in general is really separation. And there's 3 stages of death. So we have to look at that just as well. There's spiritual death. And as a result of being spiritually dead, what is spiritual death? Spiritual death means to be separated from the Creator because of sin. And ye have he quickened or made alive who was dead in sins and trespasses, Ephesians chapter 2 says. So he says, your sins have separated me from you. So when you are separated from God, as Paul stated, you are spiritually discerned. So you cannot comprehend spiritual things. So because you can't speak the language or the lingo of the Creator, then you are cut off. You are separated. So guess what's going to happen? You're going to decay. So as a result of being spiritually dead comes physical death. This is why you decay and go back to the earth. So remember I talked to you about the eternal power. So when you are cut from the eternal power, which is an indefinite source that cause you to be stable and have stability and be balanced with what is subject unto you or the dominion that Adam was given, then what happens? You degenerate, basically. You degenerate. Second law of thermodynamics. You can't upkeep what's yours due to the fact of degeneration. So let's look at this. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam. So it started with Adam, right? So why are we mentioning Christ? Christ is being mentioned because what Christ come to do, he came to rejuvenate or regenerate. He comes to regenerate, whereas the first Adam causes degeneration. This is simple. This is easy right here. So we see that the first man, Adam, causes this, which is in the image and likeness of God. And we're going to go to that Genesis and going to show you that what the Hebrew word there, which is image and likeness, which is demut and tislam. And we're going to show you the usage of those words and how they're used. And it's dealing with also appearance or image, basically. So you wasn't made in no image of no ape-like creature. No, no, no. Your outward appearance is the appearance of what we see Christ as being. But just Christ, which came in the flesh, right, died, was resurrected, and then we should be made in his likeness and in his image and conform to that. But that image is the image that we see It is the image of the Father, because he said automatically, I am the express, or he is the image of the Father. When you have seen the Father, you have seen me. It's just like you see the sun, or you see the rays of the sun, but you don't see the image of the sun, but you see the rays, but yet the rays represent the image of the sun. So the Son is the image of the Father. This is simple. So look at what it says. For as by one man's disobedience, who is that one man? Adam. Man were made sinners, right? And we know that Adam also consists of who? Eve, right? But man was made in the image and likeness of God, and God made woman for man, and they made children in the image and likeness of them, basically. And we're going to show you that in the Hebrew. So let's jump back and look at that. So we see that Paul definitely know who's the first man. Matter of fact, Christ even know the beginning and who was the first man, because he even stated it himself when he said about, for this purpose should man leave his mother and his father to be one, basically. And he was talking about Adam and Eve. Let's look at Genesis 1:26.
So what's this about?
What's going on, Christian anarchist? Basically, this is about a video that Wayne Philmore made concerning Adam and Eve and evolution and creationism, evolutionary creationism. I don't know if you've seen it today, but Dragnut tagged me in it and the brother C. Brown here. And so when he tagged us in it, I'm just bringing out the information that he displayed in that, and I tagged you in it just as well, in General Sohan, because I know that y'all deal with the same things. So if he don't show up, maybe y'all can show me what this brother is talking about. And you posted some information in the back concerning evolutionary creationism.
Yeah, it was a 35-page essay that I ended up making on it for my website. Yes.
Right. So mainly, I'm showing as far as Adam and Eve and what the text says in the Hebrew, because I noticed that he used the word replenish, but replenish also can be used as just regular fill just as well.
So what's this whole thing about we're not made in the image of a monkey or ape? Because I don't think even Wayne or General would say that they believe that.
Well,
I don't know a single evolutionary creationist that affirms that.
Well, basically, he deals with, he says that there was other men prior to. I'm gonna need him to substantiate that.
But what does that have to do? But what does that have to do with the image of God, the Imagio Dei?
I mean, it's clear what does that do with the image of God, because what else was made in the image of God besides Adam, right? And
human beings, or the Homo sapiens, if you will, are made in the image of God. What does it mean to be made in the image of God?
Okay.
Let's look at it.
Can I ask a question? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So let's get a little understanding. Wayne do believe that God used evolution to bring forth basically sea creatures that evolved into amphibians, reptiles, bears, humans. So he do believe that. Do you believe that
I believe
yourself?
that, except I don't believe humans were a part of the process.
Okay, so do you think that basically these animals and that live these millions of years was God's first priority, and then later on he's just going to bring forth man through that process?
I believe God has the right and the ability to do whatever he wants, and if that priority happens to be the animal at that instance, then yes.
Is that the nature of God to put animals and the slaughtering of animals and the killing of animals millions and millions of years just to bring us forth?
Well, from how I see it, yeah. I mean, God worked all things to the purpose of His glory. So I have no problem with even bad things that happen to me that
How would
seem
that
bad
be
to
His
me.
glory? Wait a minute. How would that be His glory though?
Because we show that God is sovereign over all creation and that we are only to depend upon Him.
Okay, yeah, but that doesn't do anything as far as you know, nothing to do with glory. The mere fact that God will use a method, the mere fact that God will use a method from millions and millions of years of slaughtering animals, and then having the human, which is made of His image, come about through bacteria and come through this whole process. The image of Him kind of come through this whole process has nothing to do with grace. Okay, and it just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. What's really happening is man and his wisdom that what he know right now is finding homology in evolution and trying to make the Bible catch up with science. We're trying to make the Bible conform to science instead of science conforming to the Bible. That's the real issue.
Here's the thing. As a person who affirms this, I don't believe that the Bible is supposed to be a science book concerning Genesis. It is never aimed to do so, and its author has never intended it to be so. I mean, you see even the passages where it talks about the dome firmament, and the rest of the passages within the Bible itself describe, and even the ancient Israelites affirmed the view that the earth was flat with a dome over it. So the point of the Bible with the Old Testament was not to introduce science by any means, but rather to relay theological messaging, the theology, and the polemics of going against what the other gods were. Because basically the main thing was monotheism. That's the whole thing. The rest were surrounded by polytheistic pagans. They're trying to affirm that there's only one God. His name is Yahweh, and He is the creator of all things, not Baal and Moloch and all these other gods that are being formed around them. That's the main emphasis.
Okay, hold on. You kind of hold on. I think I think you're getting a little bit you're getting off topic here a little bit.
Well, I'm just saying that's the whole point.
Okay, but the whole point I'm making is this here. However you want to slice it, however you want to dress it up, you want to put lipstick on it, you want to put heels on it. You're making the Bible conform to science. Period.
Hold on.
Whatever you're getting any information that man know with all the tools that he have, all the intelligence that's at his disposal. You're making the Bible conform to what he said. If you can make the Bible conform to what man say, just throw the Bible out. Just forget about the Bible. Go by what you think you know about science, and just go from there.
Right, because
don't even add the Bible into that.
Right, because even with that, and I know I'm not going to let you get away from this text one bit, because I know that when you deal with Calvinists, they like to philosophize a lot. Not putting you in that category, but we can do this all day. But let's really examine what this text is actually saying. Because when you said you asked a question, you posed a question concerning, it says so that as far as the image of God, right?
I might go back on mute just to let you guys know. All right.
All right, and anarchist, you posed a question concerning the image of God, right? Can you hear me? Christian anarchist. I don't know where he went, but hey. All right, so listen. It says, so God created man in his own image, right? So we look at the Hebrew word there, 6754. Tessalum, as I stated before, right? Can you hear me, Christian anarchist?
I just got back. I had to order some Sonic real quick.
Okay, so you posed a question concerning the image of God, right? I forgot what was you stating when you said that, but what did you say about the image of God?
Well, I'm just simply saying, I mean, if someone is an evolutionary creationist, how does that then mean that they view that by image of God, they mean that they believe they made the image of a monkey or something like that?
Right, because one of the things that that we have found is that most of the time that when we look at the ape-like creatures that we see, these creatures are something that these people have created an imagery for, and it's nothing. I mean, we don't. I mean, where did they get that from? Where did that come from? And so when we look at far as what man would have been in his appearance and how he would have walked upright and started off upright, you know, and also in regards to, you know, what was God's image like? And I think that it explains it in 27 and also in 28, because when you look at the word tislam here, we can look at that word, and it's from an unused root meaning to shade, a phantom, i.e. figuratively illusion, resemblance, hence a representative figure, especially an idol image. Now, when we look at it, these same words that we look at far as image is the same words that are used for when you make a image after, you know, with gold or some sort or something like that, or with some type of wood or something. And then the very word that we see also, likeness, is the very same thing just as well when we look at it, because it says, and let us make men in our image and our likeness. That same word is demut, right? So when we look at demut, it's the same thing: resemblance, concrete, model, shape, you know, fashion, manner, similitude, basically. So these are not just consistent of attributes, but basically of outward appearance or outward shape or form, according to when we look at the other usages that we see just as well. So what I want to point out is that he talked about chronology, right? Now, chronology is basically what we use to date the past, or how we use to we basically look at the events and we build a chronology of it, you know, of what happened in the past. But the Noah and them are dated by their ages, are they not?
Everybody there?
Yeah, I don't know. He must be taking that part.
No, like, could you repeat that again?
Noah and them is basically, they have ages, right?
Knowing them, they have ages.
I said Noah. I mean, not Noah. Adam. Them. They have ages, right? They have. You can look at their ages and see how old they was. It's listed in the Bible. Like if I look at when Noah got off the flood. I mean, after the flood, when Noah got off the ark, and then Nimrod rose up, I can actually count the ages and see that after they got off the ark, 100 years after that, when you look at their ages, Nimrod arose. Do you know you can do that, right?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, so that has nothing to do with the chronology, because the chronology basically wasn't even made until we see down the line. So we use the chronology dealing with AC and BC dates to understand the past. But when you're talking about them calculating the ages during the antediluvian period, from Adam to the antediluvian period, you can actually use that to build a chronology, and that's what we see that happen actually. So I think that he mentioned that. So when you say 6,000 years, where do we get 6,000 years from? The 6,000 years is not according to the chronology, it's actually according to the ages that we see of Adam, the ages of man, because he gives the age of them. So we can take those ages and look.
Wait, what about the 6,000? Where do we get it?
We get it from the ages of Adam through until we get to the patriarchs and all of them.
Are you aware of when the first time that ever was proposed was?
I understand when it was proposed, but okay, I understand that when it was proposed, but that's dealing with chronology. In other words,
right.
You say so. This is what I'm telling you. Okay, listen.
And are you aware of what the response was by the church after the guy proposed it?
I don't really care what the response. I'm worried about what the Bible says. It doesn't matter what the response
so,
says.
So am I, good sir. So am I.
Right, but listen, but this is what I'm telling you.
Yeah, but
Listen,
you say the Bible is, you say a Bible not a science book. You don't give that much credence to the Bible. You give much more respect
No,
to science than the
I give the
Bible.
Bible credence.
well,
I give
hold
the
on,
Bible
hold on.
credence into what its purpose is, sir.
Well, hold on, because I don't want him to really get away. I don't want to argue
Okay,
the
go
point.
ahead. Go ahead.
I don't really want to argue the point of, you know, what he feels about science. I really want to argue the point of what this Bible is saying. For instance, the antediluvian period, according to the ages of Adam, would have been what?
The antediluvian, I don't even know what that is.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when you're making the antediluvian is based upon the chaotic period that took place from Adam until we see the flood period. I mean, after the flood, which we call the post-antediluvian period. Now, when we look at it, this period is a chaotic period. We can add up the ages of Adam and also those that proceeded from Adam, because it gives us a genealogy of those people, and it gives us about 1,650 people. I mean, 1,650 years just with that alone.
Mm-hmm.
And then not only that, we can also add up, because the Jews were very specific and detailed when it came to them with their genealogy. We could actually add up certain ages of the patriarchs, as well as dealing with Nimrod and also Peleg them, because it gives their ages. So that alone, we could take those ages of when they died and also when they was born, and that alone expresses how long from them from the creation of the earth, basically.
All right. So you're saying if I were to count up the ages, I would come up to all of a sudden 6,000 people, or 6,000 year BC?
No, there wouldn't be no 6,000 year BC. See, you can't even add BC. Right, you can't. In other words, you can't say BC, because BC dates don't exist if Christ was never born. So
Okay,
BC
but the
dates
point
are
is, how old is the Earth? How old is the Earth then?
I mean, I don't know how old the Earth is. You know how old the Earth is? I know when.
Well, then what were you saying about 6,000 years?
I'm talking about man in general.
Well, what about man with regards
In
to
other
6,000
words,
years?
he stated that there were man and
Oh,
there
I
were.
got him. Yeah. He's saying that men, that 6,000 plus is probably the age how men be on the earth. He's not subscribing to an age of the earth.
Oh, okay.
He's just saying how long. But he's basically saying that this whole thing about these Homo sapiens, and not Homo sapiens, but these ape-like ancestors, what have you, 100,000 years ago, that they didn't exist.
They
That's
couldn't
what
have
he said.
exist. When the first man that we see, we can add up his ages, and see, that's the thing. You have to understand the chronology. What chronology is? It's the order of things. It's the order of what we see of historical things in the past.
All right.
So when we look at those things, we only built a chronology to help us to understand the past. Now, was there some dating mechanisms that were used? Yes, there was. Is those dating mechanisms right? I don't believe there is, because most archaeologists, they don't even use carbon dating most of the time, because they know that it's not valid. It's erroneous. It's a lot of error behind it.
Well, the thing is, that's just one method, though. That's one method of the radio.
Right, they don't use carbon dating. They don't use carbon dating to date rocks or anything. They use that for like life. They use that for life materials, because the half-life of carbon dating, I believe, is like something like that years. So you typically won't use carbon dating on something that you may think is hundreds or thousands of years old. Thousands or millions of years old.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You'll use other dating methods for that.
So my main thing is where is he getting these men that was supposedly supposed to be some 50,000, or Adam was 50,000 years old when
right.
that's when it took when we have the actual age of this dude.
Right.
Okay, so we may have the age of the guy, we may have the age of Adam, but you're suggesting that he is only limited within a time period, because in my Bible, and I even have an NIV study Bible, it doesn't give the chronology of where, in what time period Adam was. That only comes after in Genesis 12.
Well, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you look at the genealogy that's given of Adam, when you look at chapter 5, when you look at it, it gives you the date based, not the date, it gives you their ages until they had a seed, and then once that seed came along, it shows that when that person died and when that person when they was born, and also when they died, what their children, how many children they had. It shows them all of that. So when you add up all of those ages and you add them up, it comes to about 1,600 years. And not BC years, but 1,600 years, basically. So when we look at it, even with that, when we start looking at it, start adding up, that's like when you look at Daniel's clock of what we see in Daniel chapter 9 and 24. That's not added up by BC dates. It's added up by years and by counting down. Now we added BC dates when Christ came.
And see, I mean, really, I don't see how you could, it's like you guys, have the issue of having okay, well, I believe this part of the Bible, and I don't believe this part of the Bible, or I don't believe this is the interpretation.
We're not saying we don't believe that part of the Bible.
Yeah, okay, but you're misinterpreting it. You're misinterpreting what the meaning was.
How do you determine that the misinterpretation? I could say,
hold
on. Let me give you one example. Do you believe Christ died for everybody?
Yeah, I believe. Hold on. Before you say that, let me say one thing real quickly.
And as a Calvinist, I would say you're misinterpreting. So there you go.
Hold on, just real quickly, please, just real quickly. I go by the straight up interpretation. Now, if you want to try to interpret other things in it based on new discoveries from man today, then that's when you reinterpret it in the Bible. But as far as, yes, I believe that Christ died for everyone to have a chance for salvation. I don't believe. I don't believe in predeterminism. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't believe in that.
Right, but even though that's what it clearly states, literally in the text, predestined, preordained before the foundations of the world. Meaning that before the creation.
Well, I mean, okay. Tell me where it says that, because I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm gonna tell you off the rip. There is some talk about some people are preordained to go to heaven, some preordained to go to hell. I don't know for a fact, but tell me where does it say that?
No, you know what? That's another argument. And see, what he's doing is he leading you into another argument besides dealing with the subject matter.
No, I was just simply saying that he says that I'm not believing the words. I'm simply saying that if he says that I'm misinterpreting it, that can go for any kind of theological way. The issue is that we just have a different, it's an interpretation that is non-salvific in nature.
Because you're trying to bring science into the picture. You're trying to bring what.
No, Wanda, I just told you earlier, I do not affirm science into the matter.
Wait, hold on. Let's make this clear. We don't. When you say science, let's make this clear. Let's say false science, because science basically,
right?
Yeah, because he's not bringing. They're not bringing science. They're bringing assumptions into this basically.
Hold on. So let me just say one thing. So basically, your interpretation of the Bible, the way you're looking at it, has nothing to do with what evolutionary scientists say. It has no bearing on what you believe. For a straightforward reading, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you want to bring science, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't see how with how these theist evolutionists, how they look at the Bible, and when you use terms like it's not a science book, just that term right there, period. It basically tells you that you're not looking at you're putting science first over the Bible.
Period.
No, I'm not.
And
I'm not.
there's no way. Listen, hold on for a second.
No, I'm
There's
not.
no way in the world when we're talking about science, when we're talking about the Bible, that you cannot bring science into the conversation because it's part of the conversation. So there's no way you can have that separation.
If you're going to say I'm reading it as it is, then you also have to say you also believe in the literal flat earth of the Bible as well as the predestination aspect, because those are in the Bible, and that is what the Israelites and the Christians at that time believed.
No, they said, hold on for a second, but the Bible also talks about that something about the circle of God sits on the circle of the earth.
Exactly.
He also says that. He also talks about the Bible being a sphere.
Where?
I mean, the earth being a sphere.
Where?
I don't. Can you help me out on that one? I'm not good with that. I know it says somewhere. I'm not sure.
Right. But
Because I looked and I never see it, the word sphere used in the Bible.
Before we do that, because I want to make sure that we address this brother's question.
But I want to get back to what he was saying. I want to get back to what he was saying about the Bible's saying that basically saying it's a flat earth, that it says that the Bible is a flat earth. I want to get back, finish with what you're saying, but I definitely want to get back to that.
Right. Because the thing about it is we can dialogue about all of that, but we need to deal with what this brother brought out for us, evolutionary creationism, and he says were they the first human pair? That's what he asked. He says, who was biblical Adam and Eve, and were they the first human pair? Now, I took you to Romans and showed you basically in Romans who the first man was and who sin came through. And that's clear. Like it states that Adam was the first man and sin came from Adam. So where's these other men that you guys are talking about that was there?
Hey, I just told you earlier that I believe Adam and Eve were special created. They were separate from the evolutionary process. That's Wayne's claim. If he believes that, I'll let him speak for himself.
And what do you mean by evolutionary process?
Hang on a second. I got to order some cigarettes from stepmama.
All right, so let me jump back to Genesis real quick, because where you can demonstrate this at, let me bring this out real quick far as dealing with their ages, because most people they get chronology kind of separated from they get chronology kind of tied in, which you have to tie it in if you're building the chronology to understand the past, but at the same time you have to know that these guys got straight ages from when they lived and when they died. You know, straight ages when they lived and when they died. And Adam was not living no 7,000 or 6,000 years or whatever the case, you know, before he died. Adam lived 930 years. And it says that when he had, let's look at it so we can show you something right here. Let's look at Genesis 5. It says, jump back up to Genesis 5. It says, this is the book of the generations of Adam. Notice it says the generations of Adam, they didn't play about their genealogy. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God, he made him, right? So notice it says, in the day God created man, right? So when we look at it, I think the brother dealt with for us, when we look at man here, it's dealing with the plurality, as we can see here. This is plural, right? And when it talks about the generations of Adam, so it says male and female created he them. So we see that God created male and female created he them, basically. And this consists of what man is. And woman is a kind of man. She's mankind, basically. It says, and blessed them and called their name Adam. So we see he called their name Adam. And this Adam that we see here is basically this is not the definite article we see as Adam that we see here, because this is dealing with Adam and Eve. It says, in the day when they were created, and Adam lived 130 years. Now this is dealing with the definite article here, because we see that it says Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness. Now this is Adam in general of himself and not his wife. This is Adam. Adam lived 130 years. You're not going to tell me that when it says Adam lived 100 and Adam lived basically when he died 900. Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness after his image and called his name Seth. So this is basically dealing with Adam. So this is at 130 years, and it says in the days of Adam after he begot Seth were 800 years. So we see that 800 years plus that 130, that's 930. And he died after that. Now look what it says. It says, and begot sons and daughters. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, right? So he lived 930 years. But when he was 130 years old, he begot a son. And his he begot Seth, basically, which it talks about. We know already that he had Cain and Adam or whatever, but it doesn't give the date. But all we know that he
Wait a minute,
died.
hold on. Let me ask you a question. Did you say that? Because I never knew in the Bible where it said that he had more the other children. Did you just read something where he said he had 7 kids, something like that?
No, I know it says in the days of Adam, and it says in all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. But it says up here, it says, and the days of Adam after he begot Seth were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. So he had other kids besides.
Okay,
And to be honest, to be for real, they said that before he had Adam and Eve, he had sons and daughters. Now he mentioned incest because incest at that time was something that was permissible at that time. But reason why it became a law against incest is because of
gene pool.
Yes, you got it.
Mutations.
Right.
Exactly. And that's why they were living longer back then. And that's why the mutations are deteriorous.
Right. And you got to look at what would have happened after the flood. And also you got to look at what would have happened before the flood due to the fact of the ground being cursed and not yielding forth its full strength to bring forth food. And one of the things we see, it deals with evolution as far as mutation. I mean, as far as dealing with the mutation rates, mutations upon the genome is dealing with stress of food and environment and also sexual selection. So during that time, you would have had stress of food because the earth not yielding forth its strength. So you would have definitely had mutations accumulating on the chromosomes. And then also you would have had genetic gene splicing during that time, or genetic shared information of mutations on the chromosomes due to the fact of the sons of God going into the daughters of man, and also different things that took place at that time historically that they talk about as far as giants. So you would have had those things going on back then. So when the flood came, that would have changed the environment, and that would have caused more mutations on their chromosomes and caused a lot of these sequences to within these proteins to cause them to be gaining more mutations on them. So then when we start dealing with them committing incest with themselves or committing incest among themselves, they would have never been able to shake some of those traits that they had if they would have been doing the incest thing, especially after the flood, because the flood would have opened up the environment and more radioactivity would have took place because of radioactive particles decaying and being unstable, and they basically taking on those radioactive particles as well as those people that are those animals that was in their environments and also the plants, and they would have ate from those things.
Did somebody just leave the room?
I think Christian Anarchy had left.
Anarchist. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just heard.
Yeah, but like these are things that we could tell that they never really considered or really never dealt with. Like they never considered. When you look at these ages, it says that Canaan lived 8 after. I mean, not that same Canaan, but this Canaan lived after he begot Mahalalel 840 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years. So you can actually date these dates. Not date, but you can calculate their ages. And when you calculate their ages, you can calculate of when the very flood would have came to pass which they calculated, I believe, 1656. In other words, that's not a BC date, but that's actually the ages of how long they would have been on the earth. And so that's one of the ways that you can calculate. And so to say that 6,000 years was just pulled about his backside, I don't know really where he got that from. Like, there's other people that have looked at calculating these guys' ages, you know, with some estimates and stuff. But for the most part, when you begin to calculate the ages, you can't shake that. Now, when they begin to put forth the chronology, that's another thing, you know. But these guys were clear on how they calculated their ages. Like, when you look at it, people would have never known that Adam was a contemporary with Cain's posterity mentioned in Genesis 4, chapter 4, 16 to 24. And when you look at it, all the Seths down to his 308th year of Enoch and the 243 year of Methuselah, you would have looked at that. You can actually see that these people were contemporary with each other at one point in time. Whether it's when they even got off the ark, Noah was a contemporary down till you get to some of the kids of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. This, you know, so you can calculate their ages and see when these very events took place, you know, according to what year of age they was in at that time.
Right.
Because it's giving you the ages. So to say that these men existed 40,000 years ago,
right,
when Adam was created on the 6th day. And so they'll try to take those days and try to say, well, the 6th day can mean thousands or millions of years. Most people say thousands. You pushing it when you say millions, because you can't have that going like that, because we see that you can't have plants this being developed, and there's no circulation of the solar system that we see in Genesis 1 and 14. That doesn't make sense. So you got to have these things being the order of these things, and then the atmosphere. You don't even have an atmosphere till you get to Genesis 1 and 14. So then you start dealing with the Hebrew word that says that he took it and he placed the sun and the moon and the stars within solar regulation, causing what we call the seasons now today. So you mean tell me you're gonna have 1,000 years going with no solar regulation but got plants? That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard of. So scientifically, what they try to do is they try to make it fit the evolutionary theory. No, that's not gonna work. The evolutionary theory has some science in it, but for the most part, it is it's blind
belief system.
Yeah, it's blind. Yeah, it's a blind belief system. And so when you look at it, how the Bible is telling you to bring it forth, then you realize that everything was made after its kind. Now, in this house, right? I can make macaroni in this house, but because I have the ingredients to make macaroni. But just because I have the ingredients to make macaroni doesn't necessarily mean I know how to make macaroni. What's the process of it? What's the sequence of it? So when we look at it, this is what we're talking about when we're looking at blind evolution. In other words, they can't tell you how these things were sequenced to formulate or to make macaroni, but they can tell you the ingredients. Now, if you can tell me how granite was made, right, and you can basically bring forth granite, then I might believe you. But you can't even tell me how granite was made. And then if you can tell me how it was made and you say that it's science, then you need to deal with the scientific method. You need to basically experiment, test on that, and repeat the process of that. Not tell me what's the ingredients, but then you can't repeat that.
Right.
So this is the whole thing we're seeing with these guys, just dealing with the evolutionary theory or just natural selection in general. Whatever you tell me, so then they're gonna say, well, we need millions of years. Well, hold on for a minute. There's been experiments to where people have broke up. Well, we could talk about fission tracks. When you see the nucleus is split or the atom is split, we speed up the process and splitting the atom when we made the nuclear bomb. So don't tell me you can't speed up the process to make granite and tell me it takes millions of years when you're splitting atoms. I don't want to hear none of that. So it's just the thing with these guys, man, coming in here telling us what saying that this is science. No, that's not science at all. That's taxonomy.
Wait a minute, is it just me and you now? Is it just is Christian Anarchy gone?
Let me see if he yeah, he gone.
Right. Yeah, no, because I was what can you address what he was trying to say? He was trying to say something to the effect that wait a minute, he was saying that these guys believe that the earth was flat, you know, in the Bible.
Well, we have and they have actually changed that. You know what? Well, we have to where not just the Hebrews, but also those that was in the ancient times, they basically believed that there was a solid dome and the earth was flat. But that's not, when you actually look at the Hebrew, those are basically the Strongs. Hold on for a minute. I'm sorry, my son is just.
Oh, it's okay. What are you, about 2 years old?
Yeah, he 2. He finna be 3 on the 28th.
Right.
Of this. Yeah, so
I can tell by that cry almost. All right.
yeah, so the ancients, and not just the Israelites, but the ancients believe, even the Egyptians, some of the, and not all of them, but some of them did. They believe that there was.
I'm talking about in the Bible. I'm talking about where there's a reference in the Bible, and where is it a scripture to where not that God said that the earth is that, but the people thought that it was flat. Because the people thought that it was flat in the Bible, doesn't mean nothing to me.
Well, actually,
that God preaches that it's flat.
Right, it doesn't say flat because there is actually a word for flat, but even with the word for flat, it still can mean round because they talk about a flat nose, and we know that a nose ain't flat. But
right.
the word flat is not there. You know, I think that they took the word firmament. Firmament means a solid. It doesn't really mean solid, but it means something that is expanse or open expanse. And
yeah,
so
but that's not flat though.
Right, but that I know, but what they're dealing with is the flat thing is really not the they use the firmament to say that it is flat, because the argument is that there is when it says some stuff like the ends of the earth, well, the ends of the earth is west, south, north, south, east, and the west. That's what that's talking about. So they'll take the ends of the earth and they'll say, well, this is talking about a flat earth. Or when it says the earth cannot be shaken or should not move, that's not talking about basically the earth in general. For us, it's basically talking about it's not talking about the literal earth cannot be shaken or moved. They take that and they say, well, the earth cannot be shaken and moved, but we know earthquakes happen all the time and it's shaking and it's moving. So they're saying that the earth is not revolving on its axis. Or they'll take, for instance, Joshua, when they said the sun stood still, right? They'll take that because we're looking at a perspective of the sun basically standing still, but it does not state how the sun stood still. It doesn't tell you how the sun stood still, but they'll say, well, if the sun stood still, that means that the earth is still and the sun is revolving around the earth. But then you'll get to Psalms 19 and it says the sun is not you'll get to Psalms 19 and they'll say, well, the sun is, we know the sun ain't stationary. Years ago, scientists believed that the sun was
not stationary, right? Wait a minute, hold on. Don't they believe the sun is not stationary right now?
No. The scientists, the sun, they know now that the sun actually is moving. It's just that we can't see it at the perception, but it's actually not stationary, but it's moving
Well,
through.
that's what I'm saying. I've seen a couple of articles, a couple of videos of the sun not being stationary.
Yeah, it's not stationary. Yeah, it's not. The sun is not stationary. Yeah. So we know that the sun is moving. Like, and scientists know that. But back then, they used to believe that the sun was stationary.
Well, I mean,
and they believed that the sun was sitting in the middle and everything was moving around the sun. But then they realized that the sun is not stationary. The sun itself is moving just as well and dragging everything with it.
Right.
So I mean, I will have to go into certain the usages that they use and look at it.
Right. Well, look, I don't think that Wayne. Look, I'm probably gonna be on here about 20 minutes tops because I'm gonna be at my destination. I don't think Wayne is coming in here. So I mean, I don't know if you want to just what was your argument with him as far as something he said and something that what was said. I think he was holding off to waiting for him or what have you, or do you think he's going to come, or did you send him another invite or something like that to see if he would come or?
Yeah, he's probably not going to come because he's probably I don't even know the guy, but all I know is that General Sohan or whatever his name is, he can get in here. Christian Anarchist got in here. Yeah, Solo, whatever his name is, he can get in here. Christian Anarchist got in here, and we can see that number one, the first man was Adam. Ain't no getting past that. Any other man is not. Did you see that we see those men? You say that was before Adam now? I don't know who that was. And it seems to me the Bible don't say anything about them. It says that when you read the text, it actually says that after God made things in this image, and he said, let it come forth. After God made everything, he says, let it bring forth after its kind. It clearly states, let us make man in our image and in our likeness, and our own likeness, and let them have dominion. In other words, everything is coming forth after its kind, and it's not taking no many years for it to come forth. It literally says 7 days or 6 days God created the earth, and he rested or stopped or ceased from his work on the 7th day. Now, Adam never really made it up out of the 6th day or the 7th. Adam never made it up out of the 7th day without sinning. He sinned on the 7th day, and God was resting on the 7th day and came to him on the 8th day. So when you look at it, when you look at what God's timing, God basically saying that a day to him is 1,000 years to him is as a day. So we may be looking at 6,000 or 6,500 years since the creation of Adam, and when we add up their ages of dealing with as far as their genealogy, we may be looking at that, but God may be looking at it and saying, well, hey, look, y'all looking at 6,500 years when in reality it's only been 6 days and some hours. The 7th day ain't even came yet. So in other words, we have to look at that and say that he's talking about literal days as in real time of earth time. So it's only been, according to the time that he has given us, how long did it take and then when we look at how long it takes for the earth to go to turn on its axis, how long does it take for us to go around the sun, and those different things. When we look at those things, those are the same time things that he would have given back then, except before the flood happened, and it was, earth was made to wobble and different things. It was 360 days, they said.
Right.
So I think that his whole argument is fallacious, and he just need the information. I mean, he need to sit down and have it need to be a talk in here or something, because the information that he brought out was not solid. And he also asked
right. Well, I just want to say, I don't know how, it's like this guy, Christian Anarch or whatever his name is. I'm not sure what his name is exactly, but, I don't know how he can say that, you can read the scriptures in the Bible, then you can find a way to not go with some of the things that it says, but then you're not using science as a reference when you're not believing what it's saying, because it doesn't line up to what science is saying, but then science has nothing to do with it. I don't understand that. If you don't believe something, it means you believe a counter, okay? That counter got to be something. So
Yeah,
how did he say that, oh, science has nothing to do with my interpretation of the Bible? It absolutely does. And the thing about it is, science and the tools of the science that we have, that's like a baby operating in a gated area with his blocks and his toys. And all the knowledge that he have within that area is what he's dealing with, is what he's going to be able to understand. He's not going to be able to understand what's going on outside the world, because he don't have that type of science. Science ain't led him that far yet. So science is limited for what we know right now. So if we don't have understanding of the whole universe, science still operates outside of what we understand.
Right. So they're operating from a standpoint of ignorance. So what they're experimenting on could actually be, it could be some things that we can see that's just law. This is just law. We know how this moves, and there is some things that just plain law. But then when you start dealing with the assumptions of how old is the age of the earth, and then we look at the mechanisms that they use. What was the as far as isochron dating and radiometric dating, and these different decay processes, carbon dating on certain things, these different decay processes, which was also explained by Gentry and also by Humphrey, can be processes that was accelerated due to catastrophic events that took place in the past.
Right. Water, floods, all that. Now, I tell you what, these guys do not like Russ Humphreys one bit at all.
Yeah, I've seen the brother named Steve. He tried to explain about radio halos, and went there and was lying, because he never dealt with the heat problem that you have when radio halos is made. In other words, he never dealt with that. He didn't tell the people that, number one, halos won't even form and certain heat and certain Fahrenheit or certain heat, it won't even form. In other words, they experimented it when they went to Los Alamos and went to New Mexico and they had that drill down in that hole. That when they went down there, they looked and they seen that there was not halos above the temperature of 150 degrees Celsius. And so when we look at that, we have to realize that, number one, they won't form then because it's too hot. It's too hot. In other words, when we see the heat makes the granite so molten, and also the crystals, that those the structure of it snap back in place and heats up the core of those things, and they're not solidified and cool at all to even trap halos. So then you have to have a cooling to even trap those halos within the rock, and it has to be below 150 degrees. If it's anything that's higher, or Celsius, if it's anything that's higher than that, it will not make a halo at all. So he never dealt with that problem. When he talked about that, that was ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Then he also didn't deal with the fact of what's the half-life on these on polonium-218, and also how would that exist outside of the uranium halos, 238 halos? In other words, how do you have these alpha particles decaying with 100 million worth of decay processes, but then you look at the polonium halo, which have a existence of the polonium halos, which have an existence of some of them of 128 days. The other one have a existence of seconds, some type of microseconds, and then the other one of 3.5 days, basically. How does that work? How do you get these two things beside each other unless they decayed or it was accelerated? And also, rock solidified and cooled, and was not. It didn't take a millions of years for this rock to cool off. It cooled off immediately somehow, some way, and it trapped those halos within that granite and within the biotite flakes. Because when you look at it, he didn't also deal with how do you have these radio halos, uranium-238 with polonium-218 halos and polonium-210 and 214 halos. How do you have them in the same biotite flake? How do you have those like that? Only way you can explain that, and he talked about radon-222 as being a gas which came out of the came from the decay process of the uranium-238 halo, because radon-222 is a byproduct of uranium-238 for the decay process. He talked about how it could have came up out of the biotite because it's a gas, but at the same time, it also has a decay rate that's of 3 days, I believe, at the most, if that 3 days. You know what I'm saying? And and then when we look at that, you know, polonium was also there. So polonium also is something that is carried by hot water. So hot water in radon-222 could have been carried outside of that uranium-238 halo to make the polonium-218, polonium-210, and polonium-214 halos. So it's just so much stuff, man, is that he never explained any of those things, you know, that has to be dealt with. To even make a radio halo to be looked at has to be decay they said 500 alpha particles had to be transferred to make even a dark halo, which consists of, which is equivalent to 100 million alpha particles at today's rate, or decays at today's rate. So we have to look at those things, man, and say these things was made. And then his argument with even with the helium, that is something that we have to look at. When you talk about helium diffusion and the leaks that we see, there should be no helium within this earth, especially.
What was his? What do you mean within the earth?
Well, I won't say within the earth, but we're within Los Alamos. What they tested pre-Cambrian rock. This is pre-Cambrian rock. So if helium is still in this pre-Cambrian rock, how is that when this rock is dated to 1.5 million years ago?
Okay, hold on. So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Did he say that the helium is a light, it has small particles and it can slip in and out of those rocks? Is that what he said, or did he say it has something to do with some decay?
He never addressed
the helium to still be in those rocks.
He never addressed the helium thing.
What did he say though? I mean, he said, "Well, I don't have the answer," or did he try to change the subject?
And Steve changed the subject. He never talked about that. He did. He only talked about radio halos, and what he disputed on that was just ridiculous, because he never talked about the heat problem that you would have had in order to form these halos, and he never talked about how these minerals are these things are actually trapped in these they're trapped inside of the granite by when it solidifies and it cools. So it would have had to cool fast to trap that before it even decay, because we find it in it. Right. We find it there. So in other words, the decay rate is so quick on these things. It trapped it got trapped somehow in the rock, in the granite, before it can even decay. He never talked about that, any of those things, because and we know that as okay,
hold on. So wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. That trumpet time you talked to me, because remember I was in there that one time. I think I was in there. No. Actually, no. Yeah, you know what? No, I wasn't in there. I wasn't in there because I was there. You're right. I wasn't there. Because I remember when
with Hannah.
I might have came in later because I know that Hannah tried to, she tried to say stuff about,
got to see that they start getting off with personal attacks.
Right. She's
Like,
trying to say something about you got to wait till your reading or your comprehend. I'm like, nah. I say, look, you know what? We talking about some heavy stuff here. You know, it's like you might have slipped on a couple of events. That don't mean you know what you're talking about, because what they want to do is they want you to say you slipping on one or two things, small things or whatever, so they can try to kill your whole argument. But they can't do that because they can't answer the questions that you ask them. But what they try to do is instead of answering the question directly, they want to divert to another question so they can ask you about something that they want to try to associate with what you're talking about that's not associated with it, but they want to get you stuck into there because they can't answer they can't answer the primary question that you're talking about, and that's what they were trying to do.
So yeah,
go ahead.
And that's definitely what she was doing, because what it is this is, well, like I told her, I said I'm not the one who has the best grammar ever, but I know exactly what I'm saying. And so what she was doing is, because she couldn't deal with the information, they start trying to attack now. That's how they do. When they can't deal with the information, they start trying to he doesn't even talk right. We can't even understand him. But in reality, it's because I was dealing with the information, and the information they couldn't refute it. Like when we was talking about historical things, and I had to talk with Hannah, she couldn't even deal with historical things. She started making mention about pyramids, about Khufu and them, and then I was like, that pyramid was made in 2600 BC, and she got to talking about other pyramids, and I was like, there is no pyramids before then. Then she got to talk about the Nubian pyramids. I'm like, do you know that is all the way in the, I want to say 25th dynasty, and the 25th dynasty was way after 2600 BC within the, I believe So I was letting her know, like, you don't even know anything about chronology. So the first thing she started doing was trying to basically attack me personally. That's all they do.
Right. But then what they do is they try to be all how do you say it? Not sympathetic, but they try to use this technique where they, like, we just want to teach you. We want you to learn, and we want to show you. If you have a problem, condescending in a sense, you can just ask us or whatever. But you got to work on your depth first before you got to build your basics up and garbage like that. They try to be patronizing. What they try to do, they try to patronize you, get you off subject, and try to illuminate anything you say wrong. I tell you what, it was so many times where I had a discussion with either Isaiah or Steve or whatever. Instead of answering the actual question, they meant, well, you spelled something wrong. Oh, you had a hyphen right here. Oh, well, and they try to find the little smallest thing about the argument to attack, because they don't want to deal with the whole argument in itself.
Right. And that's what what she was doing. And so I realized that, like I say, you only find this amongst when you start dealing with atheists, just dealing with Caucasian atheists. That's where you find that amongst. He can't even come up with a coherent sentence. You can't even come up with a coherent theory about evolution. So you only find this, and this is not to, down anybody, but this is the thing, what they do when they really want to talk about your upbringing or your education. This is what they do. And see, Dragnut, he's a sellout. So I expect that from him, because he'll sit there all day long and say, well, the white man gave you the Bible, right? That's what he'll say all day long. But the same people who we see that gave us the Bible, as he say, is the same people that he's dealing with the science with, a so-called science.
Man, please. Yeah.
So the dude,
that's crazy.
The dude is a straight, like, he's a sellout. And I'm not just saying that in general, saying that he's selling out because it's a black or white thing, because it's never that. But in the case of when we're dealing with evolution and the things that they did to prove evolution to black people is ridiculous. And nobody never talks about that. The atheists never talk about that, the Caucasian atheists, and nor does this clown Dragnut talk about it. The things that
I think it come down to them a lot of them, seriously, a lot of those the atheists, evolutionists, them are like them preppy kids, you know what I'm saying, who really don't have a lot of discipline, who mother and father never really jumped onto them, and they just got this like silver spoon type mentality. But the thing about it is, the issue is they're very soft, and they can be exploited, because that same type of ghetto-ness they talk about you is that same type of ghetto-ness when you play a mind chess with them. Because basically, when you grow up in the projects, you play mind chess, because you got to be able to, you got to have sharp game, you got to be able to have sharp wits, you got to be able to match with people when they mentally and physically, and that gives you that mental toughness. That gives you those ingredients that they don't have. Only got like about 2 different layers or whatever. You peel back their skins of their onion, ain't nothing but soft jelly in there. You peel back ours, I'm serious, it's hardness. We cut from a different cloth than they cut from.
Right.
I have no problem with that, because I can explore. I can be talking to them, and I can see the chink in their armor. And when I do it, when I smell blood, I'm in attack mode for real. And that's what happens. These boys is real softies, real softies.
Yeah. So, brother, what time you gonna be at the house?
I got 10 minutes before I'm about to wrap it. I'll be at the house in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
according to my GPS.
Run to this grocery store, man. I'm gonna come back on her later. I'm gonna end this and come back on her later.
Right.
But as you know, I appreciate talking with you, but I want you to watch that video he did, man, because Dragnut is really addressing that to us. So I want you to watch it.
Well, you gotta send me that. You gotta send me the link, bro. Cause I just send me the link to make sure that I ain't gotta go look up. Sometimes I can't find stuff on G Plus all the time.
Right, I'm gonna send you the link. And the question did he have, who was the biblical Adam and Eve, which I addressed it a little bit. Then we talked about were they the first human pair, which we see that they basically was the first human pair as in regards to being humans, and says, are they the progenitors of the human race, and did they really live some 6,000 years ago, you know, so to speak, or whatever. So you know, that's the thing.
Right. So how you gonna send me the link? You gonna send me a link? How?
I'm gonna send you a link on here to where you can look in the background.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, but don't send it right there, because I don't know. I'm gonna get back to that. Don't you have is there another way to send it, like on the
I'm sending you like on your Google Plus then.
Are we associates or something like that? I mean, or connected some kind of way?
Yeah, we connected on Google Plus.
Okay, yes. See if you can. You know what? Do me a favor, man. Send it 2 different ways. That way, I would know I'd be able to get it, because it'd be kind of hard to find stuff sometimes on there. If you send it to me 2 ways, I'll be able to see it.
All right, cool, definitely.
Right.
So,
because you can put it into that box little thing right there too. I'll probably be able to pick it up and get it. If not, you can send it to me on your page. I don't I'm not real good with it, but I know there's a way of doing it.
All right, cool. I'm copying it right now. That way I can. Hold on.
Oh, shit. Right here.
Yeah, but that's why I wanted to really get him in here and talk with him, because he had a lot of crap that he was talking about, and even Christian anarchists, he running for reals. Like, he already know, like, you're not playing with somebody that don't know this text. Like, you gonna run into some trouble.
And that's the thing here, man. You know that text way better than me, bro. I don't know the text all like that. I never really got into it. The thing is with me, bro, is this here, man. I've always believed in God, and I've always felt a little guilty about the fact that I really wasn't going to church, and I really wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? That's where I could contribute, where I can do something, you know, for the kingdom, for the ministry. So then, you know that I love science. You know what I'm saying? I like science. So I just basically started to watch those Ken Hovind videos watching videos with True and Pearson, watching videos with, oh man, Nephilim be, man, you gotta watch some of I gotta see some of Nephilim videos.
I should have invited him in here, but he goes in. Nephilim and also Darwin's deity go in on it.
Yeah, Darwin deity go in. Darwin go in on it, but it just be it'd be a little bit too much. It'd be a little bit too much going on with him. I mean, I like look. I ain't never gonna knock him because of the fact he's for the word. He can be brutal to him, but see, the thing is it's like Nephilim got such a wide variety. I mean, he dogged. Did you watch that one when he just dogged Fiona?
Nah,
man. Huh?
I didn't even see it.
You see that one?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, I'm gonna send that one to you. It's called Nephilim refutes PhD biologist. He crushes her. Look, first of all, he crushes them, then he crushes her, then he crushes other guy. I can't think of his name. I don't know his name right now. He crushed him. You're talking about somebody who sit up here and was able to talk about all these different false pre-men, these homo erectors, whoever, I don't know all their names. He started talking about their bone structures not being right. He was killing them, man. Nephilim is a beast when it comes to this stuff, man. So yeah, I'm gonna send you his video, man. You gotta watch this stuff, man. He destroys them.
Look, Christian anarchist, he invited they get to running like really who I want to get. I want General Sohan or General Solo to come in here because he is ridiculous and he think he know the history and all this. I want him to seriously come in here and talk about it. But they invited somebody in here named Hunter for his Christian anarchist, but basically running.
Yeah, General Solo be saying something. I'm sorry, General Solo. I was first listening to him. He be saying, man, his interpretation of the Bible is crazy. This dude find any way to link stuff together that just don't go together.
Right.
He be figuring that. I don't know how he be linking stuff together like that, but it don't nowhere near to go together. And I gotta admit, he was talking one time. He was talking like halfway decent. Later on in the day, he was saying some things. He said some stuff about the Bible that I just didn't know, that I just wasn't good with. And he said some stuff about how, what's the name refuted him? Refuted him was, God, I can't think of his name. Look, he got that, look, he the brother who got he got like, his emblem got the braids in it. He got like the braids in him. Not tetrahedron. Tetrahedron got real good. Tetrahedron done really upped his game big time. Damn, who is the brother I'm talking about? He got like the braids. You would see his emblem. You got the G conscious little circle. He got the braid. The brother with the braids look like some kind of half black, half Indian type. The emblem.
I don't know. I don't know if you're talking about Becco or who. I don't know though.
Becco, yeah, Becco got him. Becco got him. Because see, all you guys know the scriptures. I don't know the scriptures, man. That's my problem. I don't know the scriptures that good. I believe in God. I believe in God on faith. I read the Bible, but I'm not real good at how to break it down. You know what I'm saying? But I know for a fact that science supports creation. Bottom line.
Right. And this guy, man, and so let me show you something real quick. Let me show you something because he tried to be slick with it, and I caught it. That's why I don't waste no time when it comes to going to these scriptures, because what they try to do is they try to argue from a standpoint of philosophy. So you have to take them to the scriptures. That's why I was like, hold on, let's see what the scripture is saying. Because let's see. Where is it at? All right, when you look at Adam, right? He talked about the Garden of Eden. That's what he talked about. Now, the Garden of Eden is it is a area that has a geographical location. Because when we look at it, it names the name of the first is peace sign, that is which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. So basically, he's naming out already the redactor, which I believe was Moses that wrote this. He's naming out where there's gold at, and the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. So notice that we're dealing with things that people take as to be dear in this world for as materialism. I'm talking about when you talking about breaking down all the way to the nucleus. These people extract these metals from granite, or basically just from anything, from any type of cave that they can mine or whatever the case may be. Now he's talking about these things. He says, in the name of the third river is Hiddekel, right? So we got geographical locations here. So this is something that is a physical place. Now the garden was not made until the second day, because really the garden consists of the sanctuary. That's something that he didn't bring out, that he didn't mention. And we know this because when we look at historically certain setups, how they set their temples up, or either their temples up or their sanctuaries lined up with what we see as far as dealing with the garden. Now, can you put that stick down, please? Thank you. Yeah.
Breaking up some.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to get back to this, man, because my wife, she called me,
man.
man. I gotta go to this store, man, and she finna get the
Right.
Come on, Chloe. So, brother, it was nice. I'll be back on here, man, about probably 30 minutes. Okay, brother, peace.
Okay. All right, boy.
Peace to the family out there. Make sure y'all click and subscribe just as well. Okay. We'll be back here in about 20 to 30 minutes at the most. Well, I say an hour.
Okay, boy.